Commander Juwu Park stood at the observation deck of the Phoenix, watching as the blue-green planet grew larger on the main display. Earth, the ancestral home she had only seen in faded images and historical archives. After 5 centuries, humans were returning. "We're approaching historical site E3721, announced Lieutenant Hyun, his voice steady despite the emotion of the moment. No hegemony patrols detected in the area. Juwu nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the world below. She thought of her ancestors who had fled this world, of the stories passed down through generations about the blue skies and vast oceans. The Phoenix had traveled for 3 months from Proxima Centauri, using the revolutionary quantum fold drive that human scientists had developed in isolation. "Bring us into a high orbit," she ordered. "Begin full planetary scans." The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency. They were the best of humanity's new generation, chosen for this historic mission. Juwu felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. 3,000 humans had escaped Earth before its destruction. Now, 20,000 lived on Proxima Centauri, a harsh world they had transformed into a home. "Commander, I'm detecting active hegemony monitoring stations on the surface," reported Security Officer Doyen. "Minimal staffing. Standard protocol for historical sites." Juwu's lips tightened. The aliens who had cataloged humanity's extinction maintained a presence on their homeworld. The irony wasn't lost on her. "Let's not announce ourselves yet," she decided. "Continue passive scans." The Phoenix slipped into Earth's orbit, its advanced stealth systems rendering it invisible to the outdated hegemony technology. As the ship circled the planet, the crew stared in wonder at the continents below. Science Officer Minji approached Juwu with a tablet. "Commander, preliminary scans show the radiation levels have decreased significantly. The planet is healing itself. Faster than we predicted," Juwu murmured. "Nature is resilient." The mission briefing had prepared them for a dead world. Instead, they were finding signs of recovery. Forests reclaiming once barren lands. Wildlife populations slowly rebuilding. "There's something else," Minji continued, her voice lower. "We've detected anomalies in the destruction patterns. The damage doesn't match our historical records of a global nuclear exchange." Juwu took the tablet, studying the data. "What are you suggesting?" "The destruction was more targeted, precise. It doesn't look like humans fighting humans." The bridge fell silent. The historical narrative that humanity had destroyed itself had been accepted for generations. It was the foundation of their cultural memory, the reason for the strict controls on weapon development in their new society. "Download all hegemony data from their monitoring stations," Juwu ordered. "I want to know what they know about what happened here." Hours later, Juwu gathered her senior officers in the conference room. The holographic display showed Earth rotating slowly above the table. "The data we've recovered tells a different story than what we've believed," she began. "The hegemony archives suggest Earth was attacked from outside. The war wasn't human against human. It was defense against alien aggressors." Chief Engineer Jinwoo looked up sharply. "Are you saying the hegemony attacked Earth?" "Not the hegemony as it exists today," Juwu clarified, "but one of the species now within the hegemony, the Torin." She displayed images of an insectoid species with blue carapaces. According to hidden files, the Torin discovered Earth in 2156. They found a pre-FTL civilization with rich resources and advanced technology. Rather than initiate contact, they decided to eliminate potential competition. The officers exchanged troubled looks as Juwu continued. "The attack was designed to look like a human war. The Torin waited a century before discovering Earth, cataloging it as a self-destroyed civilization." Weapons Officer Chuno slammed his hand on the table. "We need to confront them." "With what fleet?" Minji countered. "We have one ship against an entire galactic government." Juwu raised her hand for silence. "We need proof before accusations, and we need to know if Earth is truly habitable again." She authorized a landing party. The shuttle descended to what had once been Korea, touching down in a meadow that had once been Seoul. Ju led the team herself, stepping onto Earth's soil for the first time in her life. The air was cool and clean, scented with unfamiliar plants. Radiation levels within safe parameters, Minji reported, scanning the area. Atmosphere composition normal. Ju knelt and touched the ground. Somewhere beneath this meadow lay the ruins of a city where her ancestors had lived. Tears stung her eyes, but she blinked them away. Spread out. Collect samples. Stay alert for hegemony sensors. The team explored the area, documenting the recovering ecosystem. They found ruins partially reclaimed by nature, artifacts preserved beneath collapsed structures. Each discovery was a precious connection to their past. In what had once been a museum, they discovered a sealed vault. Engineer Jinwoo worked for hours to open it without damage. Inside, they found treasures beyond price. Art, literature, and most valuable of all, historical records preserved on specialized storage devices. This could be the proof we need, Ju said, carefully placing the devices in secure containers. The true history of what happened to Earth. As the sun began to set, Ju stood on a hill overlooking the vast green landscape. In the distance, a herd of deer-like animals moved through tall grass. Birds soared overhead. Earth is reclaiming itself, Minji said, joining her. It could be habitable again within decades, not centuries as we thought. Ju nodded, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors she had only seen in simulations. This changes everything. Earth isn't just our past. It could be our future again. Back aboard the Phoenix, the team worked through the night analyzing their findings. By morning, Ju had made her decision. She addressed the entire crew over the ship's communication system. The Earth we found is not the dead world we expected. It's healing, and the truth of its destruction has been hidden. We came seeking our past, but we found our future. And we've uncovered a truth the hegemony has buried. She paused, knowing her next words would change humanity's path forever. We will not simply reclaim our history. We will reclaim our home. But first, we must reveal the truth to the galaxy. Prepare the ship for departure. Our mission has just begun. As the Phoenix broke orbit, Ju took one last look at the blue-green planet below. 500 years ago, humanity had fled to the stars. Now, they were returning, not as refugees, but as discoverers ready to take back what was rightfully theirs. Captain Nulo paced the bridge of the Taxel, his four legs clicking against the metal floor. His antennae twitched with irritation. Patrol duty around historical site E3721 was usually boring. Sometimes they caught smugglers trying to steal ancient human artifacts, but mostly they just orbited and ran scans. Captain, we're detecting an unknown vessel approaching the restricted zone, said First Officer Krell, her compound eyes fixed on the sensor display. Nulo moved to her station. Smugglers again. They're getting bolder. I don't think so, sir. Krell adjusted the sensors. The ship doesn't match any known design in our database, and it's big. Nulo studied the readings. The vessel was indeed unlike anything he had seen before. Its energy signature was strange, operating on principles he didn't recognize. Hail them, he ordered. Standard warning protocol. The communications officer sent the message. No response. Captain. Prepare weapons systems, Nulo said. The Taxel was only a patrol vessel, but it carried enough firepower to deal with smugglers or pirates. Move to intercept course. The Taxel accelerated toward the unknown ship. As they drew closer, the bridge crew fell silent in awe. The vessel was sleek and elegant, with no visible propulsion system. It seemed to glide through space like a living thing. Sir, the sensor officer called out, we're detecting energy buildup in the vessel, but it doesn't match any known weapons profile. Nulo's mandibles clicked nervously. Defensive posture, shields at maximum. Suddenly, the main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. The communications officer looked confused. Sir, they're hailing us. but the language doesn't match any in our translation matrix. Run it through the historical archives, Nulo ordered. Maybe it's a lost colony using an outdated dialect. The computer worked for several minutes. The bridge crew waited tensely. Finally, the translation matrix beeped. Match found, the computer announced. Language identified as Earth Standard English, circa 21st 22nd century. Nulo's antennae stood straight up in shock. That's impossible. Display the transmission. The screen showed a female humanoid with dark hair pulled back neatly. She wore a uniform of deep blue with silver insignia. "This is Commander Ju Park of the Earth vessel Phoenix," she said. "We request peaceful communication with your vessel." "Impossible," Nulo chittered to Krell. "The humans are extinct." Krell's mandibles worked nervously. The translation could be wrong. "Respond," Nulo ordered the communications officer. "Ask who they really are." The communications officer sent the message. The woman on screen appeared confused, then smiled slightly. "I understand your disbelief," she replied. "According to your records, humans destroyed themselves centuries ago. Those records are incomplete. We are descendants of a colony ship that left Earth before its devastation. We have returned to reclaim our ancestral home." Nulo stepped closer to the screen. "If you are truly human, you must know that Earth is designated Historical Site E3721 under Hegemony protection. No settlement is permitted." Commander Park's expression remained calm. "We are aware of the designation. We are also aware that the Hegemony has no legitimate authority over Earth. It is the birthplace of our species. You will maintain your position until a diplomatic vessel arrives," Nulo ordered. "Any attempt to approach Earth will be considered hostile action." "We have no hostile intentions," Park replied. "But we will not be prevented from visiting our homeworld." The transmission ended. Nulo immediately sent an emergency message to Hegemony Command. Within minutes, he received orders to maintain surveillance, but avoid confrontation until reinforcements arrived. "Sir," the science officer called out, "I've analyzed their ship. The technology is remarkable. Their propulsion system appears to operate on quantum principles we've only theorized about." Krell moved to the science station. "How is that possible? Humans were a pre-FTL civilization when they went extinct." "Apparently not extinct," Nulo muttered. "And they've been busy." The news spread through the Hegemony communication network at faster than light speed. An emergency session of the Science Council was convened. Leading scientists studied the scans of the Phoenix with growing alarm and fascination. Science Minister Vezol, a tall, spindly being with translucent skin, addressed the council. "The human vessel uses technology developed along completely different lines than our own. They appear to have mastered quantum field manipulation in ways we never considered." "Is it a threat?" asked one council member. "Any sufficiently advanced technology can be a threat," Vezol replied. "But what concerns me more is how they develop this technology in isolation. Their approach is elegant, efficient. It suggests humans may possess innate scientific aptitudes we underestimated." On the Phoenix, Commander Park met with her senior staff. The Hegemony's reaction had been predictable. "They've called for reinforcements," reported Security Officer Doyen. 3 warships are en route. Estimated arrival in 6 hours. Jiwoo nodded. "That gives us time to prepare." "Have we analyzed their communication frequencies?" "Yes, Commander," answered Communications Officer Yuna. "We can access their network. They're discussing us right now. The Hegemony scientific community is in an uproar." "And the Torin? Any reaction from them?" Yuna hesitated. "They've called an emergency meeting of their High Council. Their communications are heavily encrypted, but we detected references to containment and historical security. They're afraid we know the truth," Ju said quietly. Chief Engineer Jinwoo spoke up. "Commander, we could easily evade their warships with the quantum fold drive." "We didn't come all this way to run," Ju replied. "We came for the truth and to reclaim what's ours." She turned to her diplomatic officer. Prepare a data package. Include our historical records and evidence of our legitimate claim to Earth. We'll transmit it to every species in the hegemony, not just the leadership. Back on the Taxel, Captain Nulo received a private transmission from his superior, Admiral Vezek. This situation is more complicated than it appears, the Admiral said. The Torin delegation is demanding immediate action to remove the human vessel from the system. The humans seem peaceful, Nulo replied. Their technology is advanced, but they've made no aggressive moves. The Torin are insistent, Admiral Vezek said, looking uncomfortable. They claim humans are dangerously unpredictable and cite historical evidence of their violent nature. With respect, Admiral, something doesn't add up. The Torin weren't even part of the hegemony when Earth was discovered. Why are they so concerned now? The Admiral's antennae drooped. That's not for us to question, Captain. Maintain your position. Reinforcements will handle this situation. As the transmission ended, Nulo turned to find Krell standing nearby. The Torin are hiding something, Krell said quietly. It's not our place to speculate, Nulo replied, but his antennae twitched with doubt. 3 hours later, the Phoenix sent a system-wide broadcast. Every hegemony vessel and outpost received the same message. Historical records showing Earth's devastation had been caused by Torin weapons, not human warfare. On the Taxel's bridge, the crew watched in stunned silence as evidence unfolded before them. Ancient recordings showing Torin ships attacking Earth cities. Diplomatic logs proving the Torin had deliberately falsified the historical record. Sir, Krell whispered, if this is true, it changes everything, Nulo finished. The hegemony prided itself on justice and truth. If one of its member species had committed genocide and hidden the evidence, Nulo made a decision that would change his career and galactic history. He opened a channel to the Phoenix. Commander Park, this is Captain Nulo of the Taxel. I request a private meeting to discuss these allegations. The truth must be known. On the Phoenix, Ju smiled. The first crack had appeared in the hegemony's united front. It wasn't a victory yet, but it was a beginning. The truth will set us all free, Captain, she replied. Even you. The Grand Chamber of the Hegemony Council buzzed with urgent voices. Hundreds of representatives from 87 species filled the tiered seats. Emergency lighting pulsed softly along the walls, signaling the gravity of the session. Elder Diplomat Vex rose from his seat, his tall, willowy frame commanding attention. His skin shimmered with the pale blue markings of his species' most respected caste. Esteemed colleagues, he began, his translator converting his melodic language into the standard hegemony speech. We face an unprecedented situation. A species we believed extinct has returned, bringing questions that deserve careful consideration. Holographic displays showed images of the Phoenix and its human crew. Vex gestured toward them. These humans developed without our influence. Their technology follows different principles. We must understand them before we decide their status. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Council member Droll, a stocky, ridge-backed representative of the Caxan Confederacy, stood in opposition. Earth is classified as a memorial world, he countered, his voice harsh and grating. By our laws, these humans have no claim to their ancestral system. Their appearance is unfortunate, but irrelevant to established galactic order. The Torin delegation sat silently, their blue carapaces gleaming under the chamber lights. High Commander Zilks of the Torin merely observed, his compound eyes revealing nothing. The humans request formal recognition and sovereignty over the Earth system, announced the council moderator. They claim historical evidence of outside aggression against their world. High Commander Zilks finally rose. The Torin Imperium rejects these baseless accusations. Historical records clearly show humans destroyed themselves through nuclear warfare. We discovered their ruined world a century later. These returning humans must accept established fact. Elsewhere in the chamber, Captain Nulo watched from a witness stand. After his meeting with Commander Park, He'd been recalled to the Hegemony capital to testify. His superiors were not pleased with his unsanctioned diplomacy. The evidence the humans presented is compelling, Nulo stated when called upon. At minimum, it deserves thorough investigation. The Torin delegation chittered angrily at this, mandibles clicking in displeasure. Meanwhile, aboard the Phoenix, Commander Juwu Park watched the Council proceedings through a direct feed. The ship remained in Earth orbit, now under the watchful eyes of 6 Hegemony warships. "They're stalling," said Dr. Minho Kim, standing beside her. The intelligence officer had spent days analyzing Hegemony archives. "The Torin delegation is trying to block any serious investigation." Juwu nodded grimly. "And the Council might let them. Show me what you found." Minho activated a holographic display. The official history claims the Torin discovered Earth in 2257, a century after the supposed human civil war. But I found shipping records showing Torin vessels in Earth's vicinity as early as 2156. Before the attack, Juwu said quietly. "Yes, and there's more." Minho displayed military requisition orders. The Torin military requested specific radiation shielding upgrades for their fleet in 2155. The exact type needed to protect against the weapons later used on Earth. They planned the attack in advance, Juwu concluded. But why? Resources, perhaps, or fear of competition. Minho shrugged. The Torin were expanding rapidly then, building their empire before joining the Hegemony. Juwu's eyes narrowed. "Find more proof. Something they can't dismiss." "There's one possibility," Minho said hesitantly. "The Hegemony maintains sealed archives on classified worlds. If we could access the records on Centauri IV." "That's deep in Hegemony space," Security Officer Do-Hyun interjected. "Heavily guarded." "Then we don't go in force," Juwu decided. "We go quietly." While the Council debated, the Phoenix appeared to remain in Earth orbit. In reality, a smaller craft detached from the main ship, carrying Juwu, Minho, and a small team. Using the quantum fold drive, they arrived at Centauri IV within hours. The archive world was a fortress of knowledge. Vast underground vaults contained the Hegemony's most sensitive information. Security was tight, but focused on conventional threats. "Their sensors can't detect our quantum signatures," Engineer Jinwoo explained as they approached in stealth mode. "As far as they're concerned, we don't exist." Landing in an isolated valley, the team used personal stealth tech to approach the archive entrance. Minho had studied the facility's layout during their journey. "The historical records section is 3 levels down," he whispered. "We need access codes." "Leave that to me," said Communications Officer Yuna. Using a device of her own design, she intercepted and cloned the credentials of an arriving archivist. Inside, the team moved quickly through towering shelves of data storage units. The archive was mostly automated, with few staff present. Following Minho's directions, they reached a sealed vault marked with Torin symbols. "Restricted access," Yuna murmured, studying the security panel. "This will take time." "We don't have time," Juwu replied. "Use the override." Yuna hesitated, then nodded. The override was a controversial device developed on Proxima Centauri, a fusion of quantum computing and neural interface technology that could break almost any security system. Using it would reveal capabilities humans preferred to keep secret. The vault opened silently. Inside, they found what they were looking for: original, unaltered records of the Torin's first contact with Earth. "Download everything," Juwu ordered. "Quickly." Back at the Hegemony Council, the debate had turned heated. Elder Diplomat Vex was losing ground to the Toran-led faction. "Without conclusive evidence, we must maintain the status quo," High Commander Zilks insisted. "These humans have no standing to challenge established historical record." Captain Nulo watched helplessly as the Council prepared to vote. Then, every screen in the chamber suddenly changed. The official feed was hijacked, replaced by ancient Torin military logs. The chamber fell silent as the recordings played. Torin commanders discussing Earth's resources, planning the attack, celebrating their victory, and the perfect cover story of human self-destruction. High Commander Zilks rose in fury. This is fabricated. A human deception. These are Torin military codes and encryption from 3 centuries ago, countered Elder Vex, studying the data, authenticated by the Archive's own verification systems. Chaos erupted in the chamber. Species turned against species as accusations flew. The carefully maintained order of the Hegemony threatened to fracture. Amid the tumult, a new transmission appeared. Commander Juu Park stood before the council, her image projected from the Phoenix. Members of the Hegemony Council, she began, her voice calm but firm. We did not return to seek vengeance or to disrupt your alliance. We came for truth and justice. The chamber gradually quieted. Earth is healing. Juu continued. Our ancestral home can support life again. We seek recognition of our rightful claim to rebuild there, and acknowledgement of the historical crime committed against our people. Elder Vex stepped forward. The evidence appears conclusive. The Torin attacked Earth unprovoked and falsified the historical record. High Commander Zilks and the Torin delegation found themselves isolated as other species drew away, their deception exposed. This council must vote, Elder Vex declared, not only on the human claim to Earth, but on the Torin responsibility for crimes against ascension species. As the vote began, Juu and her team returned to the Phoenix. They had taken an enormous risk, but the truth was finally emerging. The long-hidden story of Earth's devastation and humanity's survival would reshape galactic history. What happens now? Asked Minho as they watched the council proceedings. Now, Juu replied, we prepare to go home. High Admiral Talok watched the tactical display with satisfaction. 30 warships now surrounded the solitary human vessel in Earth orbit. The impressive show of force had come directly from Torin pressure on the Hegemony Council. While the political debate continued, military action would settle matters more decisively. The containment fleet is in position, Admiral reported his second-in-command. Excellent. Telok's scaled skin gleamed under the bridge lights. Hail the human vessel. When Commander Juu Park appeared on screen, her calm expression surprised Talok. Most species showed fear when confronted by such overwhelming force. Commander Park, Talok began formally, the Hegemony has authorized this fleet to secure historical site E3721 from unauthorized presence. You will power down your systems and prepare for boarding. Juu's expression remained unchanged. Admiral, Earth is our ancestral home. We have legitimate right to be here. The Council has not ruled on your claim, Talok replied. Until they do, you will comply with Hegemony security protocols. And if we refuse? Talok smiled coldly. 1 ship against 30. I admire your courage, Commander, but surely you see the reality of your situation. On the Phoenix's bridge, Security Officer Do-Yun whispered to Juu. They're targeting our engines and communication array. Juu nodded slightly. Open a private channel to Captain Nulo's ship, she instructed Communications Officer Yuna. Captain Nulo, who had returned from the council hearings, appeared on a secondary screen. Commander Park, I advised against this confrontation. The Torin faction has temporarily gained military authority. Then it's time for plan revelation, Juu replied. Stand by, Captain. She turned back to Admiral Talok on the main screen. Admiral, we came in peace, she transmitted to the Hegemony fleet. But we came prepared. Juu nodded to Engineer Jinmu, who activated a sequence on his console. Throughout the bridge, crew members tensed in anticipation. In the quantum dimension that existed alongside normal space, 18 human vessels had been traveling with the Phoenix since leaving Proxima Centauri. Invisible to conventional sensors, they had remained in a state of quantum coherence, neither fully present nor absent in normal space. Now, on Jinwu's command, they shifted fully into reality. On the Hegemony flagship, alarms blared. "Admiral," shouted the sensor officer. Multiple vessels appearing throughout the system. There, they were nowhere, and now they're everywhere. Talok stared in disbelief as 18 sleek human ships materialized among his neatly arranged formation. His perfect encirclement of the Phoenix was suddenly meaningless. Some human vessels had appeared directly behind his warships, others near Earth's moon, and 3 hovered near the system's communications relay. "Impossible," he whispered. "No cloaking technology can hide ships from our sensors." "It's not cloaking," his science officer replied, voice shaking. They were existing in a different dimensional state. "The energy signatures are unlike anything in our database." On the Phoenix, Ju addressed the stunned admiral. "Each of our ships carries complete evidence of the Torin attack on Earth. If you fire on any human vessel, the evidence will automatically broadcast to every corner of the Hegemony through your own communication network." Captain Nulo's ship broke formation with the Hegemony fleet, moving to position itself between the flagship and the Phoenix. "This vessel stands with truth," Nulo declared on an open channel. "I have seen the evidence. The Torin committed genocide and falsified history." Admiral Talok snarled in fury. "Captain Nulo, you commit treason. Return to formation immediately." "I commit to justice," Nulo replied calmly, "as should all who serve the Hegemony's true principles." Other ships began breaking formation. 3, then 7, then 12 moved away from their attack positions. The captains of these vessels had also seen the evidence presented to the Council. They had questions about why they were ordered to contain a single ship that had committed no hostile acts. "Admiral," Ju said, her voice firm but not threatening, "your fleet is dividing because the truth cannot be contained by force. We didn't come to start a war. We came armed with facts." Aboard the human vessel Horizon, hidden near Proxima Centauri, Admiral Juno Kang monitored the situation through quantum communications. Under his command, 30 more ships stood ready. The main human fleet, prepared to defend their homeworld if diplomacy failed. "The containment fleet is fragmenting," reported his tactical officer. "Nearly half have broken formation." Junho nodded, tense but hopeful. "Maintain alert status. Be ready to fold on my command." Back in Earth orbit, Admiral Talok faced a disintegrating situation. The perfect military solution was falling apart as ships questioned orders and human vessels maintained their strategic positions throughout the system. "Admiral," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a priority transmission from the Hegemony Council." The main screen shifted to show Elder Diplomat Vex. "Admiral Talok, stand down immediately. The Council has voted to grant provisional sovereignty to humans over the Earth system, pending full investigation of Torin activities." Talok's eyes widened in shock. "But High Commander Zilks assured me." "High Commander Zilks has been temporarily removed from the Council," Vex interrupted. "The evidence presented was too compelling to ignore. The Torin delegation is under investigation." On the Phoenix, Juwu and her crew exchanged relieved glances. Their gamble had worked. The truth had prevailed without bloodshed. "Commander Park," Elder Vex continued, now addressing her directly, "the Council requests your presence for formal discussions regarding Earth's status and humanity's reintegration into the galactic community." "I would be honored," Juwu replied. "And I request that Captain Nulo accompany our delegation. His courage in standing for truth deserves recognition." As the tension ebbed, the human vessels shifted back into quantum coherence, vanishing from conventional sensors. The Hegemony fleet, now under direct Council orders, began withdrawing to a respectful distance. "That was too close," Do-hyun said quietly to Juwu. "If they had attacked." "They didn't," she replied, "because enough of them still believe in justice. That's something we share with them, despite our differences." Engineer Jinwoo approached with a tablet. "Commander, I've been analyzing their sensor readings during our quantum shift. They have no understanding of the technology. It will take them decades to develop countermeasures. That's our advantage." Juwu agreed. "Not for war, but for security while we rebuild." As the Phoenix prepared to send a delegation to the Council, Zhu sent a quantum message to Admiral Kang at Proxima Centauri. Phase 1 complete. Earth recognized. Colonization plans can proceed. The response came instantly. Understood. First settlement ships preparing for departure. After 5 centuries of exile, humanity was returning home, bringing with them technologies and perspectives the galaxy had never seen. The stars that had witnessed their desperate flight would now watch their triumphant return. And the hegemony would never be the same again. The Phoenix drifted in Earth orbit for 17 days as the diplomatic storm raged across the hegemony. Commander Zhu Park used this time wisely. She kept one team in constant talks with the Council, while another began scientific surveys of Earth's recovery. The radiation levels in the Northern Hemisphere have fallen below danger thresholds, reported Science Officer Minji, examining the latest planetary scans. Plant life has reclaimed most urban areas. Animal populations are small but diverse. Zhu looked at the stunning images of forests growing through the ruins of ancient cities. Nature knows how to heal itself, given time. Our restoration plans can accelerate the process, Minji added. With targeted interventions, we could make large areas safely habitable within 5 years. Their planning was interrupted when Communications Officer Yuna rushed into the conference room. Commander, we're receiving requests for private meetings from 7 different hegemony species. Zhu raised an eyebrow. All at once. They're contacting us directly, bypassing official channels. Yuna looked both worried and excited. They say they want to establish relations with humanity independently of the Council's decision. The first visitor arrived the next day. Ambassador Trell of the Vosik represented a small but technologically advanced species from the Outer Rim. His translucent body pulsed with nervous light as he boarded the Phoenix. We have watched the Council proceedings with great interest, he told Zhu in their private meeting. The Vosik have long suspected historical manipulation by dominant powers. Your evidence confirms our fears. You believe the Torin falsified other historical records? Zhu asked. Not just the Torin. Trell's lights dimmed slightly. Many powerful species have shaped galactic history to their advantage. Smaller voices are silenced. Similar conversations followed with representatives from other species. The Nari, insect-like beings with remarkable mathematical abilities. The Lozai, a water-dwelling species whose philosophers were renowned throughout the galaxy. Each came with stories of marginalization and suspicions of historical revision. They see us as potential allies, Zhu explained to her officers afterward. Outsiders who can challenge the established order. Or they want access to our quantum technology, Security Officer Doyun pointed out. Perhaps both, Zhu conceded, but these connections could be valuable. On the 17th day, Elder Diplomat Vex requested a direct meeting aboard the Phoenix. The tall, willowy diplomat arrived with a small delegation that notably lacked any Torin representatives. The Council has reached a decision, Vex announced in the ship's conference room. After reviewing all evidence, we acknowledge the Torin attack on Earth was unprovoked aggression, and the historical record was deliberately falsified. Around the table, the Phoenix's officers remained carefully neutral despite their inner relief. Furthermore, Vex continued, the Council recognizes humanity as a sovereign species with legitimate claim to the Earth system. Your exile is officially over. Zhu allowed herself a small smile. The people of Proxima Centauri will be grateful for this recognition of justice. There are conditions, Vex added. The Council requests that humanity share its unique technological approach, particularly your quantum coherence principles. We didn't develop this technology to gain advantage, Zhu replied carefully, but neither will we simply hand it over without guarantees. Vex nodded. Not as subjects, but as equals. We propose a scientific exchange program, your knowledge for our resources to help restore Earth. The negotiations lasted another week, but the outcome was never really in doubt. Humanity had leverage, both their advanced technology and the support of numerous smaller species. The hegemony needed to adapt or risk fracturing. 3 months later, the first colonization ships arrived from Proxima Centauri. 5,000 humans returned to Earth, setting up their primary settlement near what had once been Sol. Using advanced ecological restoration methods and hegemony resources, they began the long process of healing their ancestral world. Engineers Jinwoo and Sungo led teams that installed atmospheric processors to filter lingering radiation. Biologists released specially developed microorganisms to detoxify soil. Architects designed structures that incorporated ancient ruins with new sustainable materials. 6 months into the restoration, Medical Officer Yunji delivered a baby girl in the newly constructed medical facility. Built atop the ruins of an ancient hospital, the building symbolized humanity's rebirth on Earth. "What will you name her?" Yunji asked the exhausted but joyful mother. "Hannah," the woman replied. "It means one in our old language. She is the first of a new beginning." Word of Hannah's birth spread throughout the settlement, then to the hegemony. The first Earthborn human in 5 centuries became a symbol of renewal that resonated with many species. Meanwhile, the scientific exchange program flourished. Human quantum physicists worked alongside hegemony experts, finding new applications for technologies developed in isolation. The Nari mathematicians proved especially adept at grasping quantum coherence principles, while the Losai philosophers helped humans understand the cultural implications of their discoveries. 1 year after the Phoenix arrival, the hegemony formally invited humanity to join the Galactic Council. The ceremony took place in the Grand Chamber where, months earlier, bitter debates had raged about humanity's right to exist. Commander Juwu Park, now Ambassador Park, addressed the assembled representatives of 87 species. Behind her stood a diverse delegation of humans and allies from smaller hegemony worlds. 500 years ago, humanity fled to the stars out of necessity, she began. We survived in isolation, developing technologies and perspectives unique in this galaxy. Now we return, not seeking vengeance for past wrongs, but looking toward a shared future. The chamber was silent, every being focused on her words. We've learned that humanity's greatest strength isn't our unusual technology or our resourcefulness. It's our perspective as outsiders, unbound by the assumptions that have limited galactic development for millennia. Even the Torin representatives, readmitted to the Council under strict probation, listened attentively. We don't want to conquer the stars, Juwu continued, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. We want to understand them. And now, with new allies and old enemies becoming partners, we finally can. As applause filled the chamber, Captain Nulo, newly promoted to Admiral for his role in exposing the truth, approached Juwu. "You've changed the galaxy," he said simply. "We've only just begun," she replied. Back on Earth, in the growing settlement, little Hannah took her first steps under the blue sky of a healing world. Above her, invisible to the naked eye, ships from a dozen species orbited peacefully. Scientists, diplomats, and explorers from across the galaxy came to witness humanity's remarkable return. A memorial marked the spot where the Phoenix first landed, its inscription reading, "Here returned the species that was dismissed as extinct, not for vengeance, but for a second chance to take their place among the stars." The story of humanity's exile and return became required learning in hegemony educational centers. It served as a powerful reminder that truth, however long buried, would eventually emerge, and that no species, no matter how seemingly lost, should ever be counted out of the grand cosmic story. The end.